Alrighty, here we are. We are going to run through checking this workbook, page 41. And so you're going to do this on your own since I'm not there with you today. All right, I'm going to give you, because it says estimate, what I want to do is give you a range of numbers or values that are acceptable, and I'm going to let you check your own. All right, so here we go. Number one, 74% of 99. I'd probably think of this as close to 100. And you should get around 75. Okay, so if you're, anywhere from like 73 to 75, that's good. Okay, 25% of 40, that's smack dab exactly 10. That's a good estimate. 52% of 10, this is really close to 50%, which is half, so you should get close to 5. All right, now number 4, we haven't discussed how to do 10%. So this one, you are probably going to do a little more, get it close to 25% and then go from there. So if you had something from 10 to 13, somewhere in there, or 10 to 12 is probably even a little better, that would be acceptable because we're estimating. 30% of 61, you'd probably call that 60. Okay, a really, really good estimate would be 18. However, if you are looking at, 50% would be 30, and then 25% would be 15. So it's got to be a little more than 15, like maybe 16 to 18, somewhere in that ballpark is good. Okay. All right, this one, now, if you said, gee, I can do 25% of this one because that's, about a fourth, and that would be about 12. That's a good estimate. Some of you might have said, well, this is close to 50, and half of 50 is 25, and then half again, it'd be about 12 and a half. Those are all good range estimates. All right, I probably go to number 7 and call that 40. And then as you start working your way down to this one, okay, so here's 0, here's 40. All right, 50% is going to be at 20. 25% will be at 10. And then this is going to be way close down here, okay? Probably a good estimate is in this 2 to 3 range, or 2 to 4 even, I'll say is close. 2 is actually a really good estimate. If you're a little higher than that, it's a little high. Actually, 4 is kind of high, maybe closer to 3. All right, on this one, 50%. This is close to 180, so half of it, 90, would be a good estimate. On this one, now, if you remember the chart from yesterday, 33% is about a third, and about a third is 60. A good estimate would be 20. Or if you're using our number line method, where you're saying, here's 0, and here's about 60, 50% would be about 30, 25% would be 15. All right, so this is 25%, this is 50%, and we want 33%. Which is, closer to here than there. So, halfway is maybe like 22 and a half. So, I suppose if we say somewhere around 18, maybe as high as like 21 or so, you're in the ballpark. That's pretty good. Okay, on this one, this is about half. So I would say 15. Look at these numbers. This is probably close to 25%. That's the same as 1/4. You could do exactly 1/4 of this number, and you'd have 9. If you rounded this up to 40, you'd be more in the 10 range. Okay? 30% of 22. Well, you might want to round that to 20, and then now, if you are not familiar with the 10% strategy yet, then do it number line way. Say, 50% would be 10. If I go halvesies again, this is 25%. And I want about 30%, so just a little bit more here. So maybe 6, let's get really close to that. 5 is a little on the low side. 7 and 8 get a little high. You know, if you had 7, I'd say, yeah, okay, that's it. That'd be pretty close. This one, 21% of 63. I'd probably round that to 60. Around 12 is pretty good. If you're looking number line way, 0, 60, here's 30. You know, it's kind of like a lot of these that we've been doing in the prior to this. Here's about 25%. This is 50%. I want 21%. That's even a little less than here. So if you said like 13, you know, maybe even as high as 14, although it's a little high, that's you're kind of in that ballpark. Alrighty. Now you've got some word problems, and we have to do some reading here. Okay. His pay is $91. We're estimating, so I'm thinking, all right, 90. 32% in taxes. Okay, well, 50% would be 45. 25% is going to be half of this, which would be 20. That's half of 40, and then 2.5 more. So 22.5. Now, 32%, okay, it's not quite halfway. It's a little less than halfway in between here. So you're like, well, let's see, maybe that's about 11 more. Kind of thinking, well, maybe around, I don't know, 28 or so in here. Okay, so when you're estimating the tax is maybe close to 27 to 28 bucks. You might have even gone as high as 30. But it's not asking you for just the tax. It wants what is his take-home pay after you deduct the taxes. So we have to subtract this from the 90 bucks now. So your final answer should be somewhere in that 60 to $63 range. That's about what he's going to take home. Okay? That one was a little more complicated. Number 15. You're thinking this is about 500 students. Mary got close to 50%. That's half. That's 250 votes. Make sure you label this. Same thing with this guy, $. Okay. Lunch is about 14 bucks, let's say. Okay, so we'll think of that as 14 bucks. She wants to leave a 15% tip, and we've got sales tax. So the total percent of these two together, the tax and the tip, is just over 20%. You have to add that on to your bill when you pay that. So first I want to estimate what 20% of 14 is. Okay, so as you do that, you're probably getting somewhere in the neighborhood of around $3. And then you're going to add that on to the $14.10. So if you're somewhere around $17 to $18, that's pretty good. Okay. 6% of the batteries are defective out of this many. Okay. All right, so when I look at this, let's first figure this out. Okay, 1385 is close to 1,400. Okay, that's the full 100%, and this is nothing. Halfway, or 50%, would be 700. Take another half of this, 25%. Half of 700 is 350. Another half of this, that puts us at about 12.5%. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can do half of 350 in your head, but let me show you a way to think about this. 350 is 350. Okay. Those two separate things. I bet you can do half of this. I bet you can do half of this. All right. Add those together. This is 175. Okay. Go half again, because half of 12.5% is going to be 6.25%, and that's really, really close to 6%. Okay, so what's half of 175? All right, here we might even take a little more liberty because we're still estimating. This is pretty close to 180, so half of it is kind of close to 90, and maybe shave it back a little bit. So maybe about like 88 or so. That's close. It's really 87 and a half, but we'll say that. Okay, so 88 is my estimate, is about 6%. Okay, now it says, is the manager's assumption or the supervisor's assumption of 83 a good estimate? And you can say the supervisor's estimate is close, might be a little low. Estimate is close. It might be a little low. According to my calculations. However, remember that we rounded that 1,385 up, so our estimate truly might be a little high. So I would stick to, yeah, his estimate's probably pretty good. Okay, awesome. That's all we've got. So here's what I want you to do next now. All right, for today. So you check the workbook page. That's good. Now, what I want you to do for your assignment is in your packet, there is a page on estimating, okay? And I'm trying to remember where it is. So let me quick go and find that, which page in your packet it is. I think it's around, let's look at it. Not page 4. I bet it's page 5 as you look at it because it says estimating on it. How does that look? Is that page 5? Yes, that is page 5. So here's what I want you to do. Do packet page 5. Okay. In addition to that, I want you to look at IXL and do IXL Objective L5. And I want you to go on to Schoology. Okay, right after you saw this quiz, there was a little Schoology quiz. Okay, so it's still under Chapter 6, Section 2. Answer those questions. Okay, so you've got Schoology quiz, IXL, and the packet page. And I would actually probably do these in reverse order. Schoology quiz now, IXL, and then packet page 5. Good luck, and may the force be with you.